In case you missed Wednesday's meeting about the Google Level 1 certification cohort, this is a quick overview of everything. So the first thing is that this cohort is not something that I'd ever heard of doing before. I just had the idea last semester that it would be a good idea if teachers wanted to go through and get their Level 1 certification for Google, then doing it as a group would make a lot of sense and add a little bit of accountability. So that's when I started it, and it was very well received last semester, and 8 teachers, I think it was, through the course of the semester went through and finished their certification and or their training to get their Level 1 certification. All of the training that's provided is free, and it is created and delivered through Google for Education. So it's not something that I have just created myself and decided to use that I thought would be good. It's something that Google themselves have put together. It's designed for classroom use for teachers, so it's how to use these different tools like Gmail and Calendar and Google Classroom and Hangouts and those sorts of things within the context of a classroom. So it makes it really practical for classroom teachers. There are different certifications that are available. There's the Level 1 Certified Educator. This is the course that you are starting as a cohort right now. In this course, it's really just a very basic understanding of Google and their products. Now, I'm pretty tech savvy, and I will say that going through this, I did learn a few things that I didn't know before when I started with the Google Level 1 certification. So even if you are tech savvy, it's a good way to just kind of brush up on a couple of things that maybe you didn't know as much about. There's a Level 2 certification. I've got some teachers who went through the Level 1 certification last semester, and they're going through Level 2 this semester along with me. And it's a more advanced course. I expect to learn a lot with the Level 2 certification, even though I'm pretty familiar with things already. You can go on and become a Google Certified Trainer, and that is something that you can do on the side. You can serve as kind of a consultant, and you can get paid by districts to go in and deliver training. What I'm doing is not a Google trainer. I do not have that certification. I am just organizing and coordinating and facilitating the Level 1 certification for you guys. But that is something if you wanted to do that. And then there's also the Google Innovative Educator. And this is the highest honor for Google teachers, or that Google gives to teachers. And it's something that you apply for. You become part of a program, you do a project, you are part of their community. And so that one's kind of a big deal. To become officially certified in any of these, you must pass an exam. That includes the Level 1 Certified Educator exam. The Level 1 exam is $10, and please understand that it is the expectation that if you go on to take this exam to become certified, this $10 will be paid by you personally. Certifications are good for 3 years. That way, as Google updates their products, you're able to stay up on things. You can take the exam again in 3 years and be recertified. For the Level 1 training, there are 13 units within this Level 1 training. It will take you approximately, they say, 12 hours to go through. This does count for professional learning, so make sure that you track these hours, and or you don't have to track your hours, but make sure that you keep up with adding this onto your professional learning supplemental page that you can include. So this document was emailed to you, and so within this email and within this document there is a Fall 2018 Cohort Document. So if you open that, you will go to this page, and this is a page that I created. It tells you about the Google for Education program certifications. Know that whenever you go through these certifications, this is free training offered by Google. It is all online, and it is self-paced. So you can go along at any point, even if you don't want to do this as a cohort, you can go through and you can do this training and do this certification however you would like. Also, you don't have to do the exam at the end. If you want to just go through the training, you're absolutely welcome to do that, and that is 100% free to go through. If you want to get the certification, that's when you add the $10 for the exam. So this just explains that, a reminder that this cohort, you complete the training on your own time and at your own pace. I do have, if it's helpful for you, I do have a pacing guide included here on this second page. In the pacing guide, it suggests that starting next week, August 20th, you start working on Unit 1. It tells you what the name of the unit is, 85 minutes long, 4 lessons, and its point of interest is it gives you an overview of the program and the tools that you'll experience and encounter once you're going through this cohort. So in these trainings, I do have some weeks built in as breaks. For instance, I do not have you needing to complete a unit during fall break week, or I do not have you needing to complete a unit during Thanksgiving break. It does have our face-to-face meeting dates in here as well. So this is a handy sheet if you want to print this and hang it, like I have mine hanging just above my computer in my office. And so just a quick at a glance, you're welcome to do that. Also, if you would like, just a techie little tip here, is you can make a copy of this document for yourself. You can't do it with this one because you don't have editing rights to it, but if you make a copy for yourself, which just in case you don't know, you can go to File, Make a Copy, and it will make a copy and add it to your drive. Once you have your copy on these bullets, you can double click a bullet and right click and switch it to a check mark, and you have your own handy dandy little digital checklist there. So if that's something you want to do for this or with anything else, you're welcome to do that. Beyond the pacing guide, you have just an overview of each unit, what's included in it. The handiest thing is going to be the pacing guide, and then also here, at least for the first time that you log in this document, it tells you how to get started. So it says, to begin, click here, select training, and log into your Google account when prompted. So whenever you click, it will take you to a website that looks like this. You will have to sign in whenever you first go here, and you will select Get Training. Once you go to Get Training, you are looking at the Fundamentals Training, which is their Level 1 certification. Again, if you don't have this screen yet, it will prompt you to sign in. As you go through, Unit 1 is listed here. Mine has a green check mark because I have completed that unit. Yours will have 4 circles. As you work through and complete the unit, the circles will get filled in and it will track your progress. So what I did for the group, and I will encourage you guys to do this now, in your email, go ahead and go to this document now, and you can pause as you need to get caught up, which will bring you here to the pacing guide, and do the click here to get to the Google for Education training. Once you're all logged in, go ahead and click on this Unit 1. For the Unit 1, this is just giving you an idea of what each unit looks like. I just want to make sure that everybody knows how to get logged in and that they're very clear on that. So whenever you get logged in, this one will give you an overview. The first page is always an introduction to that unit, and so it tells you what you are going to learn in this unit. It also has these sections of what products we will cover, what skills will you need. With this one, I highly recommend with this, if there's something that you don't know how to do that you see listed here, go ahead and click on it. So for instance, if this unit were going to be about Google Calendar, then it might be appropriate for you, if you aren't as familiar with Google Calendar and it says what skills will you need, there might be something here about how to create a Google Calendar event. If you don't know how to create a Google Calendar event, go ahead and click on the link that would be provided here so that you can do that. That does add a little extra time to going through it, but those are the skills that you need. And that will help you on the exam, which we'll talk about here shortly. But just want you to be clear, products that you'll cover, what skills you will need. A lot of times, they're going to be things that you don't need, that aren't applicable. But with this one, it might be something that you do. Once you complete that, you will, down here it says next, and so you'll click it and it will take you to the next part of the lesson. It tracks over here on the left side your progress throughout it. With this is what a typical lesson will look like. It tells you the expected time is 23 minutes. Now I'll say for these, I tried to track myself as I went through, just as a reference for other people. And for me, typically it would take me close to half the time, or just over half the time of the expected lesson time, typically. So you'll go through, there will be parts for you to read. Now this one is all about just technology and technology in the classroom and what impact it can have and that sort of thing. So it's not necessarily Google products yet, but just an overview. It has some questions here that then you'll see parts like this. It says jot down your ideas. So I am going to be really honest. At this point, when I was going through this for my very first unit myself, I was answering all the questions in this box because I am very compliant and I am a rule follower and I wanted to do everything just right. And so I took my notes in this area. I did come to discover that this doesn't go to anyone. No one sees this. This is just for your own learning and your own understanding. So do with that information whatever you would like. At that point, once I realized that whenever there were things for me to jot down my ideas and things like that, I tended to answer these, in my head, and because they are good questions to ask, but I wouldn't take the time after the first one to write these down. But that is up to you. But if you want to answer them in your heart and not on paper, I think that is okay. Now, one thing that I will say, just a tip and trick here, is whenever you have these options to see what other educators said. Now this one, not so much because it's like your goals and things like that, but this has been the most valuable part of this training, is whenever it has teacher responses to things. So for instance, if it's if the unit is about Google Sheets and about how teachers are using spreadsheets in their classroom, and up here it might ask you, how would you use Google spreadsheets in your classroom, and you're writing down ideas. You can think of your ideas, but what I found really beneficial was looking at what other teachers said. Not because their stuff was super technical or super difficult, it was because it was so practical. So there would be just really simple things that they were using Google spreadsheets for, and it was just like, why didn't I think of that? That's such a good idea, and it solves a problem that I have had in my classroom. So just be aware that that's really valuable stuff. Like those are the little treasures right there. Other points, it will have sometimes videos for you to watch, so watch those videos. This is another one where you're being asked to set goals for yourself in a Google Doc. I did that on the first one. I perhaps did not on the others. Seeing the goals of others, again, always check those out. Even if this one isn't as exciting, there are some other really good ones there. And then at the end of every lesson, this is a lesson check. So it asks you a question about the video or the reading from above, and you just go through and you answer these. Some are multiple choice, some are multiple select, and so you just have some different options here. This is a very low stakes assessment, so after you complete it, your score is not reported to anyone or anything like that. Any questions that you miss, you have an opportunity to retake the little quiz, the little check, and these questions that are asked on this portion, I will say it's important to go through those and to know those well, because those will help prepare you for the level 1 certification exam. So just be aware of that. And then once you finish and you click next, once you finish the lesson check, that's how it tracks your progress through the program. So just be aware of that. Like, that's how your circles will get filled in, is by answering the lesson checks at the end. So then after you finish each lesson, you'll go through, and each of these lessons has a circle at the end. And then at the end, there is, if you keep clicking through to next, you will end up at the unit review. So the unit review is a unit test at the end of each one. Again, this is one where This isn't reported to anything. You can absolutely retake it as often as possible, or as often as you need to. And with this one, I will say that again, these questions are really helpful in preparing you for your certification exam if you decide to go on and do that. So the other thing with these there are some of these questions that as they came up, like I didn't have a clue. Like I looked over things, and that was rare, but there were one or two questions or some that I didn't maybe necessarily agree with their answer, like how they had things worded or what they were expecting and that sort of thing. But it's okay. Just go through it and try and see what they were, what they're intending through the way that they ask questions and things. But it's not bad at all. So once you have that, your little circles, again, every time you finish one of those lesson checks at the end, it will fill in your circle and it tracks your progress as you go. Make sure that I said everything about this. So you saw how to log in, as I said, and keep saying Google saves your progress as you go through based on those lesson checks. Just read the material, watch the videos, do those interactive components as they are helpful for you. And the lesson checks and the unit tests each are going to be helpful when it comes exam time. So the last few things I want to share with you. Moving forward, I will be sending weekly reminder emails to you. Now, these are not intended to stress you out. If you are not following the pacing guide, that is completely fine. That's up to you, and it's no problem. But what I'll do is, for instance, probably next Monday, you'll have an email from me sometime on the 20th to say, just a reminder, if you're following the pacing calendar, you need to do your Unit 1 lessons this week. With that, I'll also have some other little things, like, for instance, probably, not week 8, but another week I'll have a reminder for you about our face-to-face meeting. And so that will all be communicated there. There will also, from time to time, there will be some random little things included. For instance, on the week 4 Google reminder, I will also have a little note for you about Google Groups to let you know or remind you, because I'm telling you initially now, that KCS has blocked access to Google Groups within the organization. So when it has you play around with Google Groups, you would need to use a personal email address if you had one. So that's the sort of information that I will send with those weekly reminders. Those are meant to encourage you to continue on and to keep you on pace. Those are not intended to discourage you whatsoever. So if you find that you're falling behind with that, please don't stress out about it. It's okay. You might even be to week 4 or 5 according to the pacing guide, and it says, you're supposed to be doing units 4 or 5, and you may not have started one yet. That's okay. Now, that's probably the time you probably need to be starting, but it's completely okay. And if you decide to batch your sessions to catch up, that's completely okay as well. So what I mean by that is, oftentimes, like, I created the pacing guide last year, and I didn't follow the pacing guide last year because I just couldn't always get to it every week. So what tended to happen for me was every 2 or 3 weeks, I would take a 2-hour block of time, and I would just knock out a couple, 2 or 3 or so units in that 2-hour block. And so that's how I went about it for me. So it's okay. Please don't let that discourage you or make you feel like you need to drop or anything like that if you fall behind. It's something that you can catch up on. And again, where I didn't put anything for us on fall break or Thanksgiving break, those are breaks that if you wanted to, some people prefer to just, kind of sit and knock out a block during that time, and that's completely okay as well. It's whatever works for you. Again, it's self-paced. This is personalized for whatever you need it to be. A couple of things to say about the meetings that we're going to have. So I try and keep the meetings short and to the point because everybody likes that. So I only want us to meet about things that are important. I feel like our meeting on Wednesday, October 24th will be important. again, just like this last meeting, only really lasted, around 20 minutes, and this video will probably be just over 20 minutes. That will probably be the reality for this meeting Wednesday, October 24th as well. I'm going to be giving you information about the test. So with the test, there are two parts to the test for the big exam at the end. There's like a question, not all multiple choice, but I'll say a multiple choice section first. And then the second part of the test that's more heavily weighted is it's a performance task-based assessment. So you're asked to do things within Google using the skills and things that you've gathered as you've gone through the training. So I'll give you more information about that, and if you see me and you just have questions and you want to know more before then, you're welcome to ask me, and I'm happy to share that information with you. But that's when I will give you lots of information about the actual exam format. I'll also on that day give you a checklist, a digital checklist that you can use, and it's more information than you would actually probably be tested on, but it might be helpful for you just as you prepare and to make sure that you can do the things on this checklist in order to be prepared for the exam. The biggie is the Wednesday, December 19th. So that meeting is one where we are actually going to take we are going to take the test, the exam together as a group. So, and this is not like cheating, it's not against any, rules or anything like that. Google actually provides during their trainings and things, they allow for this group testing as well. And it's the sort of thing where if there's just something where you get stuck and you panic and you think, I know how to do this, but I cannot recall how to get there, or maybe like, I'm not really sure on this part, what do I need to do to get started? That's something that, it's okay for you to flag me, and I'll be there and be able to answer those questions for you. So that is a great opportunity to take advantage of if you are able. That's going to be well worth it. The last couple of things here, I do plan for anybody who completes the training and or the certification exam, there will be some recognition for you at a board meeting, probably in January. So just an opportunity to celebrate the work and the learning that DB teachers are putting into this. We did this last semester with the teachers who completed the training then, and it was a big hit with the board. Like they really, they liked being able to see that teachers were doing these things. So that's that. And then if there is interest, if you really enjoy the learning and you find it really applicable to your work, then in the spring, if you are interested, I am open to having another cohort for the level 2 certification. There are 5 of us from the spring semester that just finished our level 1 certification who are working this semester on our level 2 certifications as well. So that's something that I'm open to leading if you guys are interested in learning more about that. So, of course, if you have any questions about anything between now and our next meeting, if just anything comes up, feel free to reach out, and I'm happy to assist. And I'm just so excited that so many people are interested in earning their Google Level 1 certification, and I just look forward to a whole bunch of us getting it. So let me know if you need anything.